We got Brion Gamboa on the show tonight. So let's bring him in right now and see what he's doing tonight. Hey, Brion.
Hello, Mr. Dean.
Okay, turn your... There you go. How are you? How are you doing,
vertical
sir?
on me.
That's okay. How's it going?
It's excellent. How are you?
I'm going to bring you full screen. I'm going to bring your beautiful face full screen. So how was your day today, first of all?
My day was fantastic. It didn't rain. You know, I'm about 20 minutes north of Nashville.
Okay.
And so we had it was hot, but we had decent weather. So it was fantastic. How about yours?
You know, I just got out of the pool. I've been drinking too much beer today.
Bummer.
I've been drinking too much beer. And, you know, I thought about, what are we going to talk about tonight? And I thought about, you are a musician and you've done a lot. And I started trying to cover everything you've done. And I go, we can't possibly talk about everything. But I did think about your early upbringing, Brion Gamboa, and you were on StarSearch at some point. Let's go before that. How about your upbringing, your family? Let's bring you up and tell me, was your family supportive of everything you did growing up?
So my dad was a musician. And it all kind of starts there. My mom has a great ear, but my dad was a musician. He was a drummer.
Right.
And I know he loved bass and I think he noodled with guitar a little bit, but he really got going into it in the beginning of the 60s.
Right.
He had played in band and things like that, I think, before then, but when it got serious for him, that was in the 60s. And he ended up being in a band called the Keymen, which were kind of regionally based in the Southwest, kind of San Antonio, Texas area, New Mexico. And but yeah, they had a nice little run. Matter of fact, here's a fun fact for you.
Gotcha.
They invented the first ever wireless guitars.
Really?
Yeah, the bass player.
Okay.
Who went on to, do whatever with that technology. But yeah, so they called them the teleguitars and had little antennas sticking out of the end. and so imagine in the 60s, if you're listening to the FM dial, right? Every station goes off by 9 p.m.,
Right.
So it's just a blank canvas. And so when they would play, you'd have a guitar player at one end of the FM dial, a guitar player at the other end, and a bass player in the middle.
Crazy.
So you could, if you had 3 radios, you could tune in, at least the guitars of the band.
Right.
But yeah, they were the first group to ever do that. They were also, the Coca-Cola drink, the orange drink, Sunkissed.
Yes, very
so
familiar.
Before it was called Sunkissed, it was called Sunburst. And they wrote the original theme song for that called Sunbursted.
Okay.
So, and then they had on a chart, well, it went to #1 on a chart. It was called A Kiss in the Dark. And it's actually a song my dad wrote.
Okay.
So yeah, they had a fun little run. And then I don't know, some of the guys went their own ways, and my dad, worked his tail off for the family and the whole bit. But yeah, we had a drum set that got set up pretty early on. My brother was a drummer, still is. He actually taught me my first 5 chords.
Nice.
But he's a lefty. So he had my dad's right-handed guitar that he just flipped over and he was playing left-handed.
Gotcha.
Didn't change strings, nothing like that. So it was pretty weird for me until I flipped it over one day and went, oh, that makes sense after about a year. But I always tell the story because, like, when I'm playing live and I'm doing a solo, I can turn it the other way, and kind of, and it's all show. But
Well, in my bio, I have you grew up in a musical family, and you were strongly influenced by your father, Richard,
Yeah.
and he was a songwriter, drummer, and of the Keymen. Does that
Of the
sound
key.
right?
That's
Okay.
right.
And who wrote the number one single, "A Kiss in the Dark,"
That's right.
in 1966.
1966. Yeah.
Holy smokes!
Isn't that
Now,
crazy?
and with a desire to learn, it says Brion was playing drums and guitar at the age of 6. And I relate to that, Brion, because I was a very young. My mom was a very famous singer in Las Vegas. She sang with the Liberace, Kate Smith. She
Very
was in
cool.
Las Vegas. She was a very famous singer. Her name was June Vaughn,
Oh, wow.
and my name is Dean Vaughn.
Sure.
And her piano player was he ended up with the Lawrence Welk Show.
Wow.
And
Okay.
yeah, and I'm drawing a blank for some reason, but he sent me Christmas cards as I was growing up, as a
That's
kid.
about awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So I was growing up, and I played drums when I was like 5 years old.
Yeah.
I was a drummer, and I was listening to one of your interviews. You were a drummer at a very early age.
That was my first instrument. So
Well,
I was
tell me a little
turning
bit about
over-
that. Go ahead.
You remember the Lincoln Log sets?
Yes, I do.
Like the hard cardboard with the tin on the one side, like a tube.
Yep.
So before I could even reach the drums on my dad's kit, or the kick, we would take and set up, Lincoln Log sets and like reverse the containers.
Right.
And I was doing that as long as I can remember, honestly. So my first memory of that is probably 4 years old. I will say this, by the end of 5th grade, my dad had to help bring his drum kit to my elementary school. And he brought a stereo and he brought the drum kit, and I played Hawaii 5-0 at the town.
I have that in my notes, by the way.
No kidding. It was, I'll never forget.
So tell me, no, I was from, the same era you were from, kind of.
Yeah.
We learned MASH. I think it was MASH, and I was playing drums.
Yeah.
I was playing drums, and I learned MASH.
Nice.
So
nice.
tell me more about that story. Go ahead.
Oh no, so, I won the talent show, which was cool. But
You won it.
Yeah, that was. I think people were a little shocked to see like a 5-year-old playing, or maybe I was 6 by that point, watch him playing Hawaii 5 of all things,
That's a crazy song to learn, though, even on the drums.
I still love that song on drums.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
The drums.
It's got that, and then it goes into that little shuffle on the ride.
Yeah. The drums aren't easy.
So much
So
fun.
you have rhythm.
Yeah, it started there. And I'm super thankful because, and I said this in another interview, and I probably shouldn't have. I was like, I didn't feel like I could write enough being a drummer. Right. And
Right.
many drummers have written amazing things. But for me personally, I needed something with a pronounced melody. So anytime I was around a piano, and I've never gotten to the point that I want to be on piano. I don't know what it is about piano. I've tried, and some people can do it just just amazing. I struggle. I can't do ragtime and all that. I'm a part player. I can study something and get it down, and I can write on it, but I can't. Some of these guys, that are just.
I'm a piano player, just so you know, Brian.
Well, okay, so yeah, I can't do what you do.
Ragtime and blues. I'm a Deep Purple keyboard player, and I rip on the keyboards.
That's awesome.
And I was playing with a classic rock. We did "Smokin'" by Boston.
All right. Yeah, Boston.
And I saw in your bio you are also a Boston fan.
I'm a massive Boston fan. Always have.
But keyboards are my number one instrument. Drums were something I grew up with, and guitar is something I just picked up because I had to write songs. And if you know anything about me, I was the lead singer for Danger. And we played Hollywood. I played with Guns N' Roses, Poison, Motley Crue. My good friend is Tommy Lee. So
Nice.
I'm just giving you a little background, just who I am. And I know about
Sure.
musicians. I know about you, and I know about musicians. And I know where you come from, and I know about the recording studio. So I come from your land,
Oh yeah, for
and
sure.
I understand, but I'm really fascinated with everything
So
you've done.
so
Go ahead.
keyboards is your main?
Keyboards is my main.
So guitar is my main. I mean, guitar took over by the time I was, well, even 7. I just knew that was the land I'd end up in the most,
Sure.
and really got serious about it by 10. So yeah, boy, I guitar opened up all worlds for me, and so every band I was in, starting at age 10, 11,
Right.
I've been the guitarist up till now. Now we share leads, which is
Right.
a blast. And we'll get into that later. But and I've played in some other bands too, where I've had another great lead guitar player, and that's always so much fun.
Yeah.
When you
Yeah.
can bounce off of somebody and you guys can play together and you can harmonize on the guitar. It's so much fun. I love it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I was never a stage hog in that way. I mean, I love to play lead. But there's nothing better, than a great collaboration with a great player, man. That is so much fun.
Well, you were playing. Okay, you go way back. Tell me a little. Let's go back to your national rock group, Third Mist,
Right,
who
right.
later you did a television audience for over 40 million viewers, and you climbed to a semifinalist position on the nationally syndicated show Star Search. So let's talk.
Yeah.
And that was in the mid 90s. Gambo also produced a large charity concert. Hold on. United of Music Against Drugs.
That's right.
Thank you for that. Sponsored in part by MTV.
Yep.
And you wrote the theme song, We Have the Voice.
Correct.
I remember that.
Correct.
And it played in high schools throughout the United States. Tell me more about that.
So, okay, so I'll step back a little bit. Third Mist really started amongst a group of friends. One friend in particular, that from the time I moved to that neighborhood at 4, we went to preschool together.
Right.
And so we played in little bands, if you want to call them bands. I mean, the two of us would be 8 or 9 years old, and we put an amp and some drums and some warehouse, and we just, we're thinking we're a band. But we played forever with each other. And then right about junior high school, we met a couple other guys. So that band consisted of Tyler Rice,
That's
Michael
right.
Smith, and Ole Lingen.
Okay.
And so I met Ole, and Tyler had met Mike, and we came together, and one of our first songs we played together just to see if we could mesh. So I'm about 16 at this point. And the first song we played together was 17 by Winger.
Okay.
Which is funny because one of my dear friends is Paul Taylor.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I know
that's right.
But
Paul
yeah,
Taylor. That's right.
But it was such an intricate, and Paul, well, we'll talk about that. He plays keyboards.
We'll get into Paul Taylor later.
So yeah, that was one of the first things, just to see if we could hang with each other and if we liked it, and we did. And so that band became very quickly an original band.
Very cool.
And I mean, for Colorado not really having a music scene at that time, when I say a scene, like national interest, there's no label offices there. There wasn't any industry, so to speak. A ton of talented musicians and a ton of fantastic bands, though, who were really working hard. I mean, there's some amazing bands that came out of that town during that time, most of which never got a shot because there just wasn't the industry around them, unless they went somewhere else.
Right.
Which I'm sure the story with Kansas or Nebraska or anywhere you go, you know, except for LA or something at the time. Anyway, I was approached to do this. There was a group of people that wanted to really implement this program into high schools, starting at one high school and then working their way out. And that program was Unity of Music Against Drugs. So I reached out to all the band guys in the area that I knew, a bunch of friends, and I said, okay, they want a theme song. I said, so why don't we do this? They had these kids from one particular high school, a big group of kids. And I said, what if we get them to sing on the choruses? It's kind of a We Are the World thing, you know what I mean? And I get all my band guys and they take turns playing guitar on it. Right. You know, we've got a couple drummers, bass players, and then a bunch of singers. And so that's what we did. We went into the studio, we produced the song, and it was the theme, and it was being played, and it was cool. It was for a very good thing. And there were a lot of jokes at the time because we also did a live concert, and that's how MTV got involved.
Gotcha.
Sending a DJ or sending a host to that. But we did at the fairgrounds out there, the Denver Fairgrounds. We did a big concert with all these band guys. And
gotcha.
The backstage joke is, you know, and nobody was doing drugs, but you can see where I'm going with this. It's funny to see these guys and they're singing a song about not doing drugs. Yeah, it's hilarious. Anyway, getting lost. But anyway, from there, that band, we just kind of grew our audience. We had a warehouse. Our drummers' parents had a warehouse that we took over from like basically 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. And that was the place to go. And we kind of gave a safe place to a lot of high school kids at the time. We didn't let anybody get too rowdy. We had a lot of bigger friends and acted like bouncers. It was hilarious. But we put on full shows. And if we weren't playing live, we were in the warehouse. I mean, that band spent every day with each other. It was frightening. So we ended up getting on StarSearch, and who has now become another dear friend of mine. Scott Voss was the music director at the time.
Okay.
And I guess he had seen a picture of us 2 years prior and was looking for us, but it took 2 years to meet with him. And
so what was that like, you know, coming out of StarSearch? I mean, did you have instant fame, or were people looking at you? Where did your career go directly from StarSearch?
It went really good for a minute. It went really good for a minute.
Okay.
The problem is, you know, by the time all that aired, and especially even the semifinals, and I can't remember the exact date, but I want to say by the time, you know, because it was weird. We tape a show. Let me see if I remember this right. We'd like tape a show or 2 shows, something like that. One would be a long one they'd slice and dice up for middle of the week shows. Then there was the rerun shows. But at that time, the show had just been moved. We were supposed to be on 2 years prior in California.
Okay.
At the Telerep Studios.
Gotcha.
And then the show was bought, and somehow Ed McMahon got more involved than just a host.
Okay.
It was moved to the Orlando studios.
Oh, so in
down there in
Florida. Yeah, okay. Gotcha.
Universal or whatever is down there. And so that's where we went. So we waited 2 years to be put on the show. And then
it took 2 years, 2 years to get on the show.
Well, we were originally going to go on in 90.
Okay.
And they canceled the bands. They canceled the bands and the male models, I think, and something else.
Okay.
Go figure.
That's crazy.
Maybe those were the expensive parts. I don't know. So, but they kept us in mind. They were like, no, we want you on. And
okay.
Which was great of them, very cool of them. And we ended up going down for the 92-93 season when they moved the show and had a budget again.
Okay.
And so we were aired on a lot of shows. I mean, if you count the reruns and everything that happened during how that series runs, you know, over the course of the year. I mean, I was sometimes seeing it 3-4 times a day on our TV, flipping channels. It was insane. You were watching the week before and then watching this. And so when we got back, like I was getting to, is probably, you know, the hype of all that was probably end of summer, fall. when all that was kind of wrapping up. So we started doing pretty well and started drawing label attention, things like that. And I'll fast forward March of 94. The airwaves in Colorado go from glam rock, which is what we were, to
what year was that?
March of 94.
94. Okay, that sounds about
Grunge
right.
took over the airwaves.
I remember.
The only man left standing on any of the mainstream stations was Ozzy, because he had a fairly new album.
Ozzy Osbourne.
So we were kicked to the curb. Long story short, we were booted, and that was our demise. That just kind of, and then the band, kind of internally, we went through a bunch of drummers and long story.
Well, I want to go back. So let's okay, we're going to cover the first part of the show with your lead vocals with the MickMars.
Okay.
And I want to know a little bit. I think the audience wants to know a little bit more about your relationship with MickMars.
Sure.
And your debut single video, and your release in June 22nd, 2024. Okay, so Breath of Ashes, BOA, was founded in late 2023 by you, Brion Gamboa, and best known for your vocals, and they always refer to you as the other side of Mars. The vocalist.
I'm the other vocalist. And that's okay.
How does it feel to be?
The first vocalist is fantastic. He's phenomenal. Jacob Bunny.
So the first solo album by Mick Mars was from Motley Crue, in case those of you don't know.
Who've been living under a rock.
This marked the first solo album by Mick Mars by Motley Crue, and was released February 23rd, 2024, Gamboa, and it says Gamboa can be heard on the third single. So I got a little confused about, all the singles and the albums and the names and all that stuff. So it was released on February 23rd of 2024. The full record. Okay. So I want you to clarify, all these things that I'm like looking at. I'm like, okay, what are they talking about? It was the third single, Undone and Killing Breed, which are the two songs I'm going to play tonight for the audience. Go ahead.
Was not released as a single. So how it worked is Mick released the first single, Loyal to the Lie, on October 31st, which was cool as hell and very fitting. And then the second one, I believe, was December, and I can't remember the exact date. And then the third single, and the second one was Right Side of Wrong. The
Right Side of Wrong, was that another album or is that another single?
That's another single. That's the second single.
Okay, gotcha.
The third single, Undone, which is one of the songs I sing on, came out January, it was 21st or 25th.
Okay.
And then the record was released February 23rd.
Gotcha.
So that's
I was a little confused because, there's a lot of moving parts in your career. I mean, I tried to go back and I go, okay, he did this stuff with Mick Mars, and I did the commercial based on that. And then I moved on to BOA, and I'm like, wow, he's got another release coming out now, which I'm now promoting the new album by BOA.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely appreciate it.
I'm going to pump that out as much as I can for you, especially during the podcast show. And anyway, the Breath of Ashes, composed 4 seasoned accomplished musicians, and the names are familiar with BOA, Brion Gamboa. And so I got on Hollywood Boulevard, Martin Motnick. So can you tell me the band members of your band that are with you and will be with you on tour? Go ahead and tell me more about that.
So Martin Motnick is the bass player, and Martin plays for Accept.
Gotcha.
And he's out on tour right now, as a matter of fact.
Is he still playing with Accept?
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yep, absolutely.
Gotcha.
And this band it's funny. We're comprised of a bunch of guys that play in different things. And number one, that hasn't become any kind of an issue because we're still working on the rest of the record.
Gotcha.
So anyway, I'll get back to the members, but there's Chase Lacombe, who's the drummer for Kerosene Shores, phenomenal drummer.
Okay.
And they have a bunch of stuff out. You can check that out, but they're an amazing group. Then we have Max Boy Rossetti, and he is a prodigy. He is an insanely gifted guitar player, and he plays with a ton of people. And the funny thing is, he plays with everybody from jazz people to this to that, and then he plays in a rock band, Pretty Tied Up. I mean, he's all over. But if you look at his YouTube, you'll see a bunch of tutorials, and he'll take like a metal song or a pop song, like a Lady Gaga song, and he'll chicken pick over it. Or
he'll actually take a Lady Gaga song and move it.
Yeah. He'll do a metal solo over like a jazz song or so. I mean, he's insane. So
that's in killer.
That's the band. But yeah, so I don't know how deep you want to go into that, or
I just want to basically brush over your experience working with Mick Mars. So let's go way back to, how did you get involved with Mick? And I can go into detail about, Mick Mars and all that stuff, but I want to hear it from you. How did you meet him? How did that all get started?
I delivered a pizza. I'm kidding.
Are you serious?
No, I'm totally not serious.
I believe it.
His wife makes pizza, and I don't think they'd order from somewhere. They make their own. But no. So that all came through my buddy Paul Taylor.
Okay.
And to sum this up a little bit, to explain this, so Paul and I have been friends a long time, and we've been pretty close ever since I moved here to Nashville. 15, 16 years ago, whatever it's been.
Okay.
And we've done a lot of little projects together here and there. So we've done like publishing songs or things like that. He's come up and played at like benefit concerts I've thrown, and just crazy stuff. Just, he's a great guy, dear friend. And he was already involved with Mick.
Okay.
And he, which that connection came through Michael Wagner.
Gotcha.
So Michael Wagner turned to Mick on, right? And then Mick and Paul got together. Paul, when they were looking for singers, one of his suggestions was Jacob Button.
Okay.
And, he was a writer and accomplished. Jacob can play everything. He's phenomenal. So then Jacob was on board, and Ray Lazier from Korn plays drums on the record.
I met Ray at the NAMM show. What a great guy.
Brilliant.
He's such a cool guy.
He's cool, and he's a brilliant drummer. So I don't know what came first. That may have been a Wagner connection, or he might have known Mick, for all I know. And then I was last. Well, no, second to last. So there was a song, the song "Killing Breed," right?
Yeah.
That Mick and Paul were working on, and I guess they were working out parts or whatever, and Paul was working out some parts. And I don't think Jacob, he doesn't live in town with the rest of us here. And I think he might have been out of town somewhere fairly far at the time or something. And Paul was just trying to see if these parts they were putting together would work. He was just trying, you put a singer on to have that melody there just as a placeholder.
Right.
And so Paul and I have done a few songs that were in the same realm vocally, kind of in this angst, this desperation, which is really what Killing Breed is about.
Right.
And so Paul just said, "Hey man, do you mind laying a vocal on this? So we can just kind of have a placeholder. I want to see, if Mick is liking, how it's coming together. And the parts that we've worked out, and see if he's or whatever, if he's happy with some of the stuff I'm doing or whatever."
Right.
So I went in, I sang it with Paul, which is normal for me. I joke about, I think Paul is probably the best person who records my voice for some reason. I don't know why. I go to his studio, and when I do stuff with him, it's really easy. But he showed it to Mick. And as the story goes, Mick said, "That's the other guy."
I see.
So that's the other voice, because Mick had always wanted something like the Beatles for this record.
I got you.
He wanted differences in voice and textures, and to have those perimeters, have less perimeters around
Yeah.
you know, what he was putting out. So, yeah, that's how it started. And then I ended up singing Undone, and yeah, the rest is history.
So you sang on 2 songs on the album,
Correct.
and then the other singer sang on the other songs. What was
He
his
did.
name? Paul
Jacob.
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 And
You
so-
might know Jacob, or I'm sure you've heard of him because he had Mars Electric. He had
Okay.
he's been in Lineham. He played with
I might know.
Stephen
I might know
Adler.
him. Yeah.
He was a frontman for Adler.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
Okay. I might
man,
know him.
he's done a ton of stuff.
I might know him. I might know him. But your video, I want to play your video here real soon. We're about 40 minutes into the show right now. So
Sure.
I'm gonna play the let's see. We had Soul Divine video.
Hey, before
BFA. Yeah, go ahead.
Before you hit play, I'm going to tell you so you're prepped, or your
Okay.
audience is prepped.
You got it.
So I'll make this long story really short. When I wrote this song, all I kept seeing is this action movie.
Okay.
That's what I saw in my head, right? And when I thought about a video for it, I just thought just a regular video, it doesn't grab it. So we made a mini movie because it was like, it's like a movie. It's like an action movie. Then you think female John Wick, you know, that was what
Oh
was in my
God,
head.
John
Because the
Wick.
storyline is comparable.
I love that. I and I
So-
did watch it. I watched the video like 3 times, and I was trying to grab the story that you were trying to tell during that video.
Well, it's basically somebody forced into being a villain most of their life, but then having to make a decision, wanting to go from the dark to the light, wanting to come out of that. And she finds herself with only one choice. So,
And the woman that plays that part, do you know her, or did you have to hire?
well, I did have to hire her. That's my wife.
That's your wife.
I'll be paying that acting fee for probably the next 10 years. No, she's an actress. She's also a singer, songwriter. She's brilliant. And man, I just couldn't imagine anybody else because, you know, I needed hot and I needed badass.
Well, let's play the video now.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Survivor, will I be the sorcerer? Will I be the heartless martyr? Every life I've tortured, giving me immortal bloodlines. Can I bleed enough to die? Never free the thoughts in my standing last in line. When the world is taking all my wishes, I beg for freedom.
Wow, what a cool video.
And there you have it.
You remember Queensryche, right?
Oh, very much so, man. I was in a Queensryche cover band when I was like 14 and 15.
They used to do a lot of theme-driven videos where it
Very
tells
much
a
so.
story, And are you going to do another video to follow up with that one?
So the plan is this. We plan to put out 2, if not 3 more singles off the record. The full record, our goal right now.
Right.
End of March 25.
Okay.
Be out by then. And then, and it could be sooner. I mean, we're pretty excited about things and we're already moving along, but that was the original goal. In this day and age, you can put out a record, but especially if you're, even though we all play and we all come from other places, we're still a new band together.
Sure.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
So there's a lot of proving ground there. When you form something new, I don't care who's in it, you're proving yourself over to an audience, right? They want to know what this is about. They don't care what you did here. What are you doing? What is this? And why should we listen? And so, yeah, I mean, I think the way to do that really in this day and age is drop some singles first. You know what I mean? And
well, in this day and age, it's not about selling albums anymore.
Right.
And,
unfortunately,
back in the 80s, I remember selling my single at Tower Records, and nowadays it's a la carte. You pick a song, you download it. Hopefully, you're getting paid for it.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother. So really, we come down to people buying our merchandise and buying our albums, and bringing people to your website. And I understand that because I'm a musician. I'm not just a podcast show host.
Absolutely.
And I am a musician, and I understand.
Speaking of website and merch, look at that. You see that shameless plug right there?
I saw that. I was going to buy one today. I'm like, people go out and get the BOA t-shirt.
I don't wear it out though much. I'll wear it around the house.
I love
really
it. You got a great logo. You got a great look. And I saw a lot of people already buying your t-shirts and your merchandise online. I was on your website today and people love you. They love you and they love what you're doing right now.
You know what? I will say this. We've been very fortunate. We have a lot of people that have been, including yourself, very supportive of what we're doing. And like I said, regardless of what the other members are doing with those other bands that people already know, when you start over and you bring people together in a new band, you're proving yourself. And to have as much faith in us and support for us, it just, not to be sappy, but it's pretty humbling, and I'm extremely grateful because there's a lot of people really going the extra mile for us right now.
Well, you know what, and I'm one of those people, and I've been promoting you all morning, actually for about a week now.
Yes,
I put the commercial out, and I want to talk a little bit about the album.
Sure.
Where people can go ahead and get it, download it, and buy it, and all that's good stuff. I will be putting some links out on the bottom of the podcast show to let people know where to go, and I know where to go. But this, let me get out of the way. Is this the album cover?
So no, that is the single cover, and if you notice,
got it.
There's a longer version of that has all the credits. We made a movie poster because we felt like we made a movie for the video.
I got you. Okay.
So it's a true movie poster. Now we have reduced versions, like what you're showing there is kind of a shorter version because you can't put a big rectangle on social.
Yeah.
But the album cover, I have yet to reveal. Really, it's kind of out there in a weird way, and we're kind of being a little sneaky about that. But the album is called Unconstricted.
I saw that. Unconstricted. I love the name.
Well,
is this you, Brian? Is that you?
That's Martin.
Well, he's playing bass. I'm sorry. I just grabbed a bunch of pictures.
Hair on his head.
Is he still with you now?
He has. Oh yeah. He plays with us, but that's who plays with Accept.
Okay, is he still playing right now?
Oh yeah, he's on tour right now.
He's on tour with Accept.
Yep.
Everyone out there that knows Accept knows who this guy is.
Oh, and they love Martin. Martin's such a perfect fit with those guys. He's fantastic.
So how does he fit the time into? Do you guys rehearse all the time?
Well,
how does it work? How does it work?
So Accept is very busy, obviously, this year because they just released a new album, Humanoid.
Okay,
and
right.
And it's done fantastic. It's, there's so many albums that came out. You had Mick, you had Ace Frehley, and friends of mine play with Ace Frehley.
Ace, yeah.
So they play in his group. A lot of really killer albums, and from old and new. Their record is fantastic. If you haven't listened to it, you should.
I will.
And their band is exceptional. I mean, they're just absolutely exceptionally great live. Martin.
How did you?
They're playing for 70,000 people.
Well, how did you meet those guys? I mean, at what point in your career did you connect with all these great musicians? At what year would that be?
You know what? Well, okay, so way back in the Third Miss days, we were a support act a lot of times for the national acts that came through.
Okay.
So the bigger rock acts. So you'd meet, not to say you become tight or good friends with people then, because it's in and out and bleeding. And then sometimes, there were several bands that every time they came through, we'd be their support group, right? Then you get a little tighter with those. Really, about 5 years before I came to Nashville, I guess it was probably Facebook, that people were reaching out, and especially songwriters and especially guys within the rock genre.
Right.
And then many of those rock guys moved to Nashville. So, you've got Poison guys, Tom Kiefer, and guys from Cinderella, obviously Kip Winger and Mark Slaughter and Paul. To see of people moved here between 15 and 20 years ago, including myself. Not that I'm cool like they are, but and it's a small town. And so, we see each other around. There's different things we show up to play at, and you just become friends. Martin and I guess it's been a couple of years now, or at least a year or something. Maybe we were sitting in with another band, other friends of ours, and I was playing guitar, he was playing bass. We did several shows with them, just a kind of hired gun thing, and we just had a blast playing with each other. And then we played a show. It wasn't really called Breath of Ashes at the time, but it was kind of the precursor to this. Same thing with Max. We played together at something. Chase came to town, and we met through Ray Lazier. And
I met Ray. He's a great guy. I met him at the NAMM show. What a cool guy.
So Chase and I met at the Music City Drum Show, and then became friends, and then played with each other, and everything just I had most of this record written before the Mick album came out. But
so you already had the album figured out before you met Mick.
Pretty much. And I say that loosely because the guy's involvement is what's going to be, what makes it great.
Right.
But as far as the general direction and a lot of the main song ideas were there, and I waited because when I found out I would be on Mick's, that was going to happen first, and so I decided to do this out. So
that became a priority to get the Mick Mars album out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then start working on your own project, Breath of Ashes.
Absolutely.
BOA. And when I was looking you up, I'm like, I was kind of in the crosshairs of you were the singer for Mick Mars, and then you had BOA, and then it was all coming out at the same time. So as a podcast show host, trying to figure it all out, I go, well, what do I talk about? Well, but I wanted you to talk a little bit about Mick Mars. And let's go back a little bit. You're
Sure.
working with Mick Mars, and I had some comments on some of my feeds that were talking about Mick isn't playing the guitar. He's got somebody else playing for him. Blah blah. And I was defending Mick, saying no, that's Mick playing the guitar.
Good for you.
Mick's-
You would be
Mick's-
correct.
Mick's hands still work. And I know he's got the ALS. He's got the ALS disease with the bone, and it fuses the bone together. And people don't understand that his hands still work.
Well,
You
so
know.
that
So tell me a
illness,
little bit. So go ahead, follow up.
the little that I know about the illness, and it can affect people in different ways. I've heard stories of people being affected more, obviously in the spine, but can be affected in legs or sometimes arms. In Mick's case, it has not affected his arms one bit, and he plays excellent. Like
That's awesome.
Mick is a riff
Yeah.
god, and he has
Yeah.
a gazillion fantastic ideas brewing in his head all the time. My experience with Mick has been fantastic. So
And I wanted to clarify to the skeptics out there. That's this one guy chimed in on a feed, and that was this morning. He says that's not Mick playing guitar, and he was convinced that Mick can't play guitar, and he was saying that someone else was playing guitar. And I says that's ridiculous. I go, Mick has been playing guitar even with Motley Crue. He just decided he didn't want to tour anymore, and his hands work just fine. And I even pointed out in a video where Mick was talking about how his hands work perfectly fine.
well, let me put that to bed to whoever that was.
Yes.
And I know, and listen, I'm not giving the guy a hard time at all, because there's so much online and there's so much conjecture and all this. Let me just set the record straight right now. Yes, Mick absolutely plays. And you know it when he does, because it's one of the coolest, loudest sounding things I've ever heard in my life. So, and no, Mick plays just fine. So yeah, and no, he played his record.
No, and thank you for clarifying. And I wanted to hear it from
100%.
you. I wanted to hear it from you because you just got through working on an album with Mick, and I already knew that.
Yeah.
And
Well, that's
some
the bad thing about internet. There's some truths, and then there's a whole bunch of just stuff. You know what I mean?
welcome to the internet. Welcome to
Right?
the internet. There's
You're
so much
gonna
bull-
find anything you want to find. Let's put it that way.
You want to
You
find the
wanna prove your
negative,
point, you'll find it.
right. Same thing in politics. I know. It's the
Right.
same thing everywhere. What do you want to hear? What do you want to hear? Go to that channel and you'll hear what you want to hear.
Hey man, I'm a unicorn and I can prove it. We can get online right now. It's
Well, thank
unbelievable.
you. No, thank you, Brian, for clearing that up, because I want the world to know that Mick is still alive and
Right.
rocking his ass off and playing his guitar.
Oh,
just
he's already
like he
starting
did.
on his second record. He's
That's
got
awesome.
some killer ideas.
Are you going to do now? That brings me to question number 75. Are you going to work anymore with Mick Mars?
I've been asked this question before, and I will answer it this way. If Mick calls on me, if he feels like I fit with what's going to happen on the new record in any way, I would absolutely do it. I believe in what he's doing. I love the fact that he's putting the things that he has in his head out. I don't think it's not that he doesn't care about his fans, but it's more, I just got a lot of music in me and I want to get this out.
Yeah.
And so he's not worried about exactly where that fits in. It's
I got
more
you.
just to get these things out, which I completely respect. And I think he's doing a fantastic job of that. And I've heard some of the stuff he's got cooking for the second one, and it's amazing. So I've known this for a long time. Like, Mick said, it's a solo project, right?
Right.
And if he writes a song, or he's got a song and he thinks he needs a female voice, or if he thinks he needs this kind of voice,
Right.
or that kind of voice,
Absolutely.
he's going to hunt that voice down.
Absolutely.
And nor Jacob, but I would be offended by that, because we've known this. He wants to do his thing, and he's earned it.
Well,
But
you're
if he called on me to do something,
Yeah.
of course I would entertain it.
you're a true musician, and you've been in this business for a long time, and you understand the caveats of well, first of all, the public and the internet. You're going to hear all kinds of things that are inaccurate, And
I-
we all know that Mick was the influence or the starter of Motley Crue. And
Yeah.
he was the reason. And I know a little bit about the early history of Motley Crue. I'm good friends with Tom, by the way. And I know that Mick played a big part in making Motley Crue who they are today. And
Absolutely.
for them to say, we're going to take away your percentage. We're going to take away your money because you aren't able to go on tour or whatever the reason was. What are we going on 40 plus years with Motley Crue?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, how long do you have to play or be in a company to collect your severance pay or collect your percentage?
Well,
I worked for Union Oil for 30 years. I want my money.
I will plead the fifth on this one. And I've never even asked Mick. I mean, obviously, you hear enough in the press and what Mick has said in interviews. I just never even asked him. We were all about his record and getting that done. And I don't know the other guys. So I stay so clear of that because and because, two reasons. Number one, I don't ask, so I don't know anything. And then, the second is that, like, I'm not in that band. I never was. So
no,
like,
no, I got it. And I don't mean to put you on the spot, but you were the closest one that I know right now to MickMars in his latest music career.
Yeah.
And I don't know the other guys. I only know you right now. And so I have to ask you the questions,
Sure.
that you're the closest one I know. And there's something came up, and I pulled this down from the internet, and I only did it because I want you to answer the question. And you
Sure.
might have talked to him about this. Let me get out of the way. Just see if I can read it. It says, Mick Mars doesn't see himself living for another 7 to 8 years.
I saw that reported. I can't remember what that was in, maybe Variety or something, or I don't know.
I know, but give me your, now you don't have to be, literal on this.
Well, I can't speak for Mick or how long he thinks he's going to live, but from what I see, I think he's, for his age, very young, his age.
Right.
I really do. I think he's got a whole lot of music in him, and I mean, for all I know, Mick will outlive us all.
he could outlive us all, and I agree. That's my point.
He may magically reincarnate right here on Earth into an alien. You know what I'm saying?
He's the only one that I will interview ever in my career of Motley Crue. And I already told that to the record companies and the people who are sending me the interviews. I said, don't send me anybody else. If you send me anybody, send me Mick Mars.
I'm sure he'd be happy to hear that.
It's absolutely true. Even though I'm friends with Tommy Lee or Tom Bass from high school, me and Tom went to high school. I go, I don't really want to interview him either. Just give me Mick, and I'm like that. I'm very loyal to the people I know in the music industry that are true and that are honest, that are not corrupt, that are not fake, and that are in the music business because they love music. They're not in the business for any other reason. And like yourself, and I know who you are because I looked you up. You've been in the music business since you were a kid, and to go through the years to get to StarSearch. I know the dedication that even took. So I know who you are, Brion, and you can't fake me out. You're a true musician. Just like Mick Mars is, and that's probably why you two got together and did this album together, because Mick is a true guy, and he wasn't looking for just anybody to sing on his album, and he found Brion Gamboa, and he said, I'm going to have Brion sing on it, and you sound absolutely awesome.
Well, thank you very much.
I've been singing that song all weekend.
I think the record
It's in my
is
head right now.
I'm
I'm singing it right now. You know, I'm
It's
singing
the
the melody
coolest
because
line.
it's so freaking, it's such a hit.
It's so funny because I listened to it and I'm listening to it now, but I love that opening line. I love the opening line, and it's just
Oh my
not
God.
me. I'm not saying I love my voice on it.
No,
But
you love it.
if that were somebody else, I just love that line. I love how it comes from that big, heavy
Oh my
chest
God.
kicking you and then drops into that. And yeah, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of the record, which is amazing. And I've told people this too. I'm a fan of the record for two reasons. I love the music. I had a blast with Mick and everybody else.
Well, tell me more. No, real
They're
quick.
good humans. They're all good humans, man.
He is a good human, and he is one of the I want to say the few still out there, and you're one of them. And you're one
the
of them.
whole band, everybody involved in that project are good humans. And
Yeah.
there's nothing better than playing on a good album than playing on a good album with friends.
Absolutely,
Can't
and
beat
and the music business is full of I don't want to belittle anybody, but it's full of a lot of fakes. You know,
My wife and I had this discussion the other day, and you know, I think some people may get hung up in a certain particular part of the life of, or what they think that life should be.
Right.
What I have found is a lot of the genuine players are pretty humble. They're pretty down to earth. You know, they're worried about life things no different than the next person, and they're pretty sharp individuals. The people that have managed to stay successful for a long time. Not to say there isn't the factor of luck. Not to say there isn't the exceptions to that rule. There is, but there is to anything, really.
Right.
I mean, so, but the people I know or I consider friends, I have great respect for, and I know some really super nice, down to earth, people I call friends and that are exceptional musicians. And maybe it's what you're looking for, but I would say this, we were talking about people, people when they're starting out, and heck, this band, I'm starting out, for that matter. And you work hard and something you believe in, you put your heart and soul into something, you're hoping maybe somebody likes it like you do. You're doing it for yourself, but you're hoping that other people find, something appealing, to the ear about it like you do.
Right.
There's never a guarantee to that. But my point is, a lot of people try real hard. They work real hard for a long time, and it's a tough road. And I think some of like what you were talking about is spurred off of people feeling like they have to prove themselves so much because people don't pay attention.
Right.
And, America isn't like Europe and some other places that value the arts as much.
Right.
So I get it. And we're, everybody's trying to make a living and everybody's trying to get someone to pay attention because it's how you make a living and how you get your music out there. So
you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head. Everyone's so desperate, and I feel the desperation, especially on social media, in the media. People are so desperate to get noticed, and I think that just being a good artist, being a good musician, or doing what you love. Let's break it down to doing what you love. And the internet has given us an opportunity to get what we do out there and let people know who we are, what we're about. And if they like us, they like us. If they don't, then that's fine.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's not a big deal. And I'm not doing this to get rich. I've been in the music business for 45 plus years. I've played 1,000 nightclubs. I've done a few records. I've played with some of the biggest players in the world, but that doesn't mean really anything. It's what I'm doing today.
Right.
And what I'm doing today is I'm sharing my music history with all my
my compatriots, whatever you want to call them, my friends in the music business, including yourself. And I think you're a lot younger than I am, but you've been in the business a long time.
I don't know.
Well, I'm just going to say that, just for kicks. But being on
It's already
Starsearch,
out there. Everybody knows my age. I'm 52, so
whatever. You're very young. Oh,
Well.
I'm not going to tell you how old I am then. But
well, you don't look a day over 28.
so, and on June 22nd, 2024, you released the premiere single, Soul Divide.
Yep.
The first of 10 tracks to be included in the BOA debut album, Unconstricted, and slated to release in the songs in 2025. It's packed full of hard-hitting grooves, it says. So can you tell me a little bit about what we're looking for in 2025 from Brion Gamboa?
Sure. So, well, are you referring to the record? Kind of what to expect?
Well, I'm referring to it. The 10 tracks to be included in the BOA Unconstricted, slated to release in the spring of 2025. Is there another album coming out?
No. So this single that we just played,
okay,
Soul Divide, the video,
okay,
that is part of the Unconstricted album.
Okay, gotcha.
But we're just releasing some singles, and then we'll release the full record after.
Okay,
so,
I gotcha.
So that clears that up a little bit. But like that song,
okay.
I would call that a hard medium tempo.
I was just reading
we'll
your
have
bio.
Some faster, we'll have some slower. There's a ballad,
Okay, first of all, Brion, I forgot to tell you, we're going to take some calls. Is that okay?
Cool. Let's do it.
Somebody wants to talk to you right now, and they're
Sweet.
calling in. They're calling in from somewhere in the 760 area code.
760.
That would be like Victorville or Hesperia out in the high desert. Let me let them in. Let me see what they want to say. Hello, who do we have?
Hi.
Who is that?
There? Brenda Poe. Brenda Poe event.
So are you
Murgatroyd?
Oh my God! I recognize the voice. Are you calling to talk to? Are you calling to talk to Brion Gamboa?
Oh yes. I was calling to say hello, and it sounds good even.
Well, hello to you.
Who
am I speaking to?
How about some Murgatroyd? This is Snagglepuss, the lion-hearted even. You gotta know me.
Fantastic.
Yeah. My friend Jinx is right here. He'll tell you it's me. That is Snagglepuss. We used to chase those nieces together.
Okay.
And I was also there myself. I was out there chasing the nieces too, and I'm a bear. Hey.
So, do you have any questions for Mr. Gamboa, Snagglepuss?
No, I can't think of any. Heavens to Murgatroyd, I can't think of any right now. I'm kind of rusty with my voice, it's been a long time,
Don't make me kick you off the show. Really, I don't want to have to kick you off. But do you have any questions? Like, were you a Motley Crue fan? Do you know who you're talking to right now?
Well, let's see. What's it like rocking with Mick Mars?
What's it like rocking with? That's a good question. What's it like rocking with Mick?
It's fantastic, man. He's a gem. He's a cool dude, man, and one of the best riff writers of all time. I mean, yeah, it was great. It was great.
Yeah, I grew up in the area there. I've known Dean for 40 years or more.
You know what? Don't ruin my career. Right?
Okay. Won't do a thing like that.
Snagglepuss, he's an old friend of mine, and he watches the show religiously. And he has over 200 voices that he does. And he does. Hey, can you give me the president real quick? Can you give me our president, Snagglepuss?
I can't. Well, I could do some presidents, but not the one now. But
no, you don't. You can't do Dumble.
Well, I could do. Here's one for you. Well, I tell you what, I am not a crook. It doesn't matter what Pat says, and it will never matter what Pat says because I am not a crook. I should have never
Nice.
been impeached.
That was not bad. That was
Can
a
you
good
get
Nixon.
can you give me a Jimmy Carter?
Well, I remember when I used to pick peanuts when I was a little kid. I've never done him. How about a Howard Cosell?
Give me Howard. Give me
Hello
Howard. Give me
again.
Howard real quick before I throw you off the show. Go ahead.
Okay. Hello again, everyone. A year ago, remember, Buffalo made it to the playoffs and the big game, and the same results. Could not pull off the win. I'll be back in 60 seconds.
You know, that's funny.
It reminds me of the movie Better Off Dead. Do you remember that movie?
I remember that.
Oh,
Oh, that's funny.
yeah, I'm rusty right now. A little rusty.
Well, it's
That was
good to
good.
talk to you. Randy,
That
do you
was-
have any real questions for Brion Gamboa about the new album, BOA? And if you've heard anything from his new music, do you have anything to say?
No, is the album out now or
Yes, it is. And you're going to listen to it tonight.
okay?
It's the album
But
out now. Killing me.
We're cutting
Okay.
it right now.
Yeah, I'm cutting you off.
No, it sounds
I'm
really-
cutting you off.
sounds really
No,
good.
good.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Okay, I'll see you later.
Hey,
Talk
that's
to you
awesome.
later.
though.
Okay.
Thanks for calling in. That was great.
Thanks
Good
for calling
impression.
in.
Thank you.
I'm going to let you go ahead and hang up. See you later, Randy.
Okay. See you later, Dean. All right.
Holy
Bye.
smoke. Good to hear from you. I'm sorry about that. But
I
that
love
was,
it.
He is such a great, what do you call it? Like Rich
Person?
Little, like a
Oh,
person,
really?
like Rich Little. And he came over my house one night and he says, one night I'm going to call into the show. And I didn't expect him to call in tonight. But,
Of course not. I thought it was awesome. I love it.
you know what? Just broke up the ice a little bit, right?
Oh man, I love impersonations. Yeah.
So do I. So do I.
Who do you
so,
do you got any?
huh?
Do you got any?
I think I got you. Someone else
do
is
you
coming.
do
on.
any impersonations?
I don't do any impersonations. Do you? We got another call. Let's see who it is. It's coming from the 714 area code. That would be like Orange County.
Maybe.
Who do we have?
Hey, this is Christy.
Christy, do you know Mr. Gamboa?
I don't, but I want to. He's got a wonderful sound. It's iconic.
Have you heard his new album yet?
Yes, I have.
What do you think of it?
I think it's awesome.
Well, thank you.
I'm
I'm really excited. I'm really excited for you, Brion. I mean, you have a unique, ultimate sound. You're going to go places.
Well, thank you very much.
Do you have any real personal, in-depth questions for Brion?
Uh-oh.
Let's see here. Well, you're good looking, but you're married, and I'm good looking, but I'm taken. So we're knock that out of the park.
That is true. I am married happily, and
Yep.
but thank you for the compliment. It's appreciated.
But I'm
Okay.
excited for you. I'm excited for where you're going and what's happening in your music career. And I know you're going to go far.
Well, thank you very much. Love to hear that kind of support.
And you know, Christy, you can get his new album at the end of the show. I'm going to put a link down so you can download the new album, and go to
Okay.
his website, buy the new album, get his merchandise. He has some really see that shirt he's wearing. See that
Yeah,
shirt?
that shirt's hot. I
That
love that.
shirt.
I love that.
I'm gonna
logo.
get myself a shirt. I swear to God, that is a badass shirt.
It
Thank you.
is.
And did you remember, Christy? Were you alive when StarSearch was around?
Yeah, I was alive, Dean. I'm 60.
You're 60. Holy smokes!
You're right up there with us. Do you remember Star Search? Did you ever see Brion on Star Search?
No, I didn't see him. I saw a few other people that we know, but I've never seen Brion. But well, I've seen him now, and that's all that matters.
I think you have a new fan or a new lover. I'm not sure.
Before the podcast.
Oh, that's funny. All right, Christy. Well, we got to get on with the show. So is there anything you want to ask Brion? Anything else?
Yes, send me some tickets.
Awesome.
That's question number 72. Are you playing anywhere coming up, Brion? Are you doing any live shows?
So we may do a couple of one-offs before the end of the year, but we're basically pushing out the schedule till after the record in March. Now, there's some possibilities of some things in January. So yeah, we should know some things as we go, maybe into by October probably. There'll be dates starting to come up.
Okay, so we'll let you know, Christy, when Brion's playing out live, where you can get some tickets, and if I can con him into or convince him to give you some free tickets, I'll do that. But
that'd be awesome. Love you, Brion. Love you, Dean. Love this show. God bless you both.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Thank you for calling in. We appreciate it.
All right. Bye now.
Bye, sweetheart. Call in. You don't have to be watching the show. You can just call in. And if you from any mobile phone, which is a lot of the streaming sites don't allow. They don't allow you to call in on a phone, just a cell phone. So one more time, area code 253-205-0468. And the secret code is 702-927-2226. And you can call in anytime you want during the show. Anytime. I wish you the best of luck on the new album.
Thank you.
And your career. And you have, like I said, we could talk all night, but I'm going to start to wrap up. I want people to find you. I will be posting the links of your website. In fact, I think I already did that on the commercial. I want people to find Brion Gamboa, former lead singer of Mick Mars, Motley Crue, and the new album, BOA, Breath of Ashes. And he's played with some of the greatest rock stars in the music industry. And he has an illustrious career. And I want people to go out and find Brion. Go buy the album on the website. You can stream it, listen to it, download it. But go support Brion Gamboa on the website. Give the money to the artist. And I'm all about that. Give the money to the artist. Yeah, and go get his merchandise. He has that shirt he's wearing is. You can buy that shirt right now on his website. I'm going to post it. What is your website, Brion?
It's super easy. It's breathofashes.com.
Breathofashes.com. As it's spelled, go to breathofashes.com right now. Get his album. Download his t-shirt. Get his merchandise. I've already checked out his website. He's got some cool shit. And I have a website, and I do all kinds of stuff. The money needs to go to the artist. And when you're listening to his music, you're not contributing to the artist until you buy the album or you go to the website and support the artist. So I'm strongly suggesting everyone goes and does that tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to thank you for doing the show.
Hey man, it's been a blast. I don't know what I missed. I mean, there was another caller, and I have no idea what I missed. Was it good?
She was in love with you or something like that. I'm not sure what.
I doubt that.
She didn't know you were married.
She was probably calling in to go, "Hey, Dean, what are you spending so much time in this clown for? He's bald, like he has no hair. I mean, come on."
Well, you know what? It's not about the hair, Brion. You're a good-looking guy.
Not everybody is lucky like you, man.
I love you, man, and I'm so glad you got to get on the show tonight, and you allowed me to interview you. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, man. No, thank you for having me, man. That's the only way to connect to audience in this landscape now.
Yeah.
It's people like you and what you're doing, man, is a massive connection with, you know, people we're trying to share music with. So thank you, for real.
Thank you very much, and I appreciate that. I'm going to do a little outro video, and I want to thank you again for doing the show tonight. And I'm going to let it rip. Hold on 1 second. Here it goes. Let's see. What are we doing? Oh, there it is. Ah, there's a picture of you. And I am going to let this outro video rip. And Brion, I want to thank you so much for doing the show tonight. And I hope I get to see you again.
Yeah.
You know, and please, if you get to go on tour, you have an open invitation to the Dean Vaughn Music Podcast Show.
Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I'd love to chat again. We'll do
Absolutely.
it soon.
Okay, I'm going to let this rip, and thank you and good night. And everyone have a great night tonight.
Survive.